So today we have another important theorem in central limit laws. So this theorem is due to Lindbergh-Levy. Statement says that every sequence of IID random variables having a finite non-zero common variance obeys the central limit law. Okay, so let us try to prove this. So in the statement of the theorem, xn's are IID random variables. Okay, and they have a finite non-zero common variance. So existence of the finite non-zero common variance implies the existence of the expectations, right? This we have already know. So xn's are IID, and let sigma square non-zero sigma square be the common variance. Without loss of generality, let us assume that expectation xn is equal to 0 for all n. So we have seen this without loss of generality concept, and let phi denote the common characteristic function of xn. So by definition, phi t is equal to expectation e to the power I t xn. So this is equal to 1 minus half t square sigma square plus order function of t square. How it comes? Now the explanation is like this. Listen carefully. So expectation phi t is equal to expectation e to the power I t xn. So now e to the power I t xn, you put it in the form of the exponential series, that is 1 plus x e to the power itx 1 plus, so itx will come itxn plus I square t square xn square by 2 factorial will come. Okay, so on. So expectation of 1 will be 1, and plus expectation of x will be 0, because expectation xn will be 0 for all n, we have assumed that. And the next term is I square is minus 1, so minus 1 t square expectation of xn square by 2. Okay, so that term is expectation of xn square is variance, because expectation xn is equal to 0. You write down variance xn is equal to expectation xn square minus expectation xn the whole square. So therefore expectation xn is equal to 0. That means expectation xn square is equal to sigma square, that is the variance. So the second term is coming like that. So the second term will be that, and the other remaining of the terms, the other terms will be controlled by this order function of t square. Okay, this is equation number 1. Now let phi n denote the CF of Sn by square root of variance of Sn. Okay, so here variance of Sn is n sigma square, so that we have phi n t is equal to expectation e to the power I t Sn by root over variance of Sn is square root of n sigma, because this we take the square root of n and sigma. So this is equal to phi t sigma root over n whole to the power n, because Sn is summation xk, k goes from 1 to n, and they are independent. Therefore the product of the CFs is now whole to the power n. This is product of k goes from 1 to n phi of t by sigma by rho 1, because instead of t here, t into square root of n sigma. Okay, so this expression can be expanded, simplified using equation 1. Instead of t, you take t by sigma by root over n, sigma root over n. So instead of in equation 1, so 1 minus t square by 2 n plus order function of t square by n sigma square whole to the power n. This expression comes using the expression of phi in equation 1. Okay, you try to explain yourself using equation 1. So this implies that if we take the log on both sides, log of phi n t is equal to n log of this quantity. So now this is equation number 2. For fixed t, t square by 2n tends to 0 as n tends to infinity. Similarly, order function of t square by n sigma square tends to 0 as n tends to infinity. Okay, so as n tends to infinity, this part, that is t square by 2n plus order function of t square by n sigma square, will be made very small, will be made very small, or it tends to 0. So that for sufficiently large n, we can have this quantity less than 1. For sufficiently large n. The meaning of for sufficiently large n is that we can find such a number n, a natural number, so that the absolute value of this quantity is made less than 1 as a fraction. So that we can expand the log phi nt is equal to n times minus of this quantity plus terms involving higher power of 1 by n. So this is nothing but the expansion of log 1 minus x. 1 minus x. X is this whole quantity. So minus x plus terms involving higher powers of 1 by n. So this is equal to, you put come n inside, so t square by n minus t square by n, and n is cancelled. So n times order function of t square by n sigma square. Same, this is as it is. But for every real t, limit as n tends to infinity, n order function of t square by n sigma square is equal to limit this simplification. When you remove this one, this t square is cancelled out, and then sigma square n sigma square is there, so no problem. T square by n sigma square, order function t square by n sigma square. So this will cancel out with this, and n will remain, no problem. This n is this n, this n is this n. So as n tends to infinity, this quantity tends to 0. Therefore, the whole thing will tend to 0 by definition of order function. So taking limit as n tends to infinity in equation 2, we have limit log phi n t is equal to minus half t square. So that limit phi n t is equal to e to the power minus half t square, and we know it is the CF of the standard normal distribution. So by continuity theorem, Sn by square root of variance of Sn converges to the random variable, standard normal variable in distribution, and thus Xn obeys the central limit law. So this is the proof. So this is very similar to what we have already proved in Khinchin's theorem, like that. So try to understand it. It is very simple. And as a corollary, every Bernoulli sequence obeys the central limit law, because for the Bernoulli sequence we have the non-zero common variance, non-zero finite non-zero common variance as and PQ, P into Q. So we can apply this theorem so that Bernoulli sequence obeys the central limit law. Okay, have a good day. Try to understand. You can give me any query in the WhatsApp group.